Hey, Deanna Clark here with the Clark-Esposito Law Firm, and I'm here today to provide you with a step-by-step guide to claiming IEEPA customs duty refunds with something called CAPE. CAPE is the Consolidated Administration and Processing of Entries. This is a customs portal. And in this video, I'm going to be focusing on phase one. That's the portion that's currently out. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you some useful web pages to help you with your understanding of everything. Now, CAPE is known as the Consolidated Administration and Processing of Entries. And this is an electronic portal that you go into. For the focus of this video, because only phase one has been released by US Customs, that's what this video will be focused on. There will be other future videos related to the other phases. And if you stick around till the end of the video, I will have some useful web pages for you. So stay tuned. US Customs developed CAPE as a functionality within its automated commercial environment, otherwise known as ACE. And the purpose of this is so that they can efficiently process refunds for importers of record who have paid duties pursuant to IEEPA. IEEPA standing for the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. And CAPE is a new ACE functionality. They're hoping it will streamline the process, consolidate refunds and interest payments for entries subject to the IEEPA duties, rather than issuing an entry-by-entry refund, right? And that's what we thought might end up being the case, but they're trying to make it so this process can move more efficiently. Now, this system deployed just a couple of days ago on Monday, April 20th, 2026 at 8 a.m. And as the other phases are released, Customs will issue more information. But again, right now, only phase one has been released, and that's what we're talking about here in this video. So in terms of CAPE itself, importers, their customs brokers, CAPE will be accessible through the ACE account. So through that importer's ACE account is where they'll be able to go in there, file a CAPE declaration, upload what they call a CSV file, that's a comma separated values file, and they have an ability to list up to 9,999 entry numbers on which IEEPA duties have been paid and for which they are requesting a refund. Now, only the entry numbers should be included in the CSV file. No other entry-related information is needed, okay? A separate CAPE declaration may be submitted for additional entry numbers beyond the first 9,999. It can only be submitted by the importer of record who is associated with the entry summaries or by their customs broker. And it's got to be the customs broker who filed the entry summaries. So it can't just be a new customs broker or somebody else that you want to use. The declaration template itself will be available through the upload button on the CAPE tab of the ACE portal. And the CAPE declaration itself, as well as the entry summaries listed, will be validated by ACE before the CAPE declaration is accepted into the ACE portal and assigned a claim number. It will be assigned a CAPE claim number. So first, the submission will undergo file validations to confirm that the declaration contains complete entry numbers, that it's properly formatted, that the submitter is the importer of record for the listed entries or the authorized customs broker that filed the entry summaries on behalf of the importer of record, who I'm going to refer to as the IOR going forward. They'll ensure that the CSV file is not corrupted. And then, if there's any errors, they're going to look to resolving that. Generally, the IOR will need to just submit a new CAPE declaration, okay? The importer or its broker. Once the submission passes the validation process, then CAPE will run entry-specific validations. So this will include that each entry number exists listed exists in ACE and has at least one HTS number from Chapter 99 that is declared on that entry. It may flag things if it's flagged for reconciliation. There are things that simply aren't accepted. So if it's flagged for reconciliation, so an entry type 9, if it's associated with a drawback entry, if it's an entry summary that's open or suspended due to a protest, if it's an entry summary with an open or closed liquidation status, for example, a temporary importation under bond entry, that won't be accepted. And also any anti-dumping or countervailing duty entry summaries also won't be accepted at this time. Okay. And so a couple other areas where entries won't be accepted include an entry summary that is over 80 days past the liquidation date, along with a goods value amount, which is not allowed on the IEEPA HTS line. Okay, so the entered value of the imported product that's reported on the entry summary line should be reported on the chapters 1 through 97 HTS classification, unless Chapter 98 reporting provisions require the entered value to be reported differently. Okay, so if an entry summary fails to have any of this entry specific validations that I just spoke about, then ACE is going to just go ahead and remove that individual entry summary from that CAPE declaration. Now, it'll still go ahead with processing the remaining entry summaries. Okay, so even if some of those end up getting in there, don't worry about, oops, now the whole thing, has got to be redone. Customs plans to go ahead and process those. So presumably that will actually happen. Once the system completes the entry specific validations, then ACE will display the results, identifying any rejected entries and the reason for rejection. If the filer corrects the entry specific errors identified by ACE, then it may resubmit the entry summary on a separate CAPE declaration. And so, after once the CAPE declaration has been accepted, then it's assigned a unique CAPE claim number. All right. So that's the step everybody wants to get to. You want to get to being assigned a CAPE claim number. Now I have in front of us here what we're seeing on the screen, and I just want to mention this. This is the IEEPA duty refunds, page. So if there's ever updates, come on over to this page, see where there are updates. And, on this screen there, as you scroll down, you can see on the right-hand side here, fact sheet for IEEPA duty refunds. There's the ACE portal, CAPE declarations, quick reference guide, trade information notice on CAPE, an overview on IEEPA duty refunds and CAPE. So Customs is really trying to make it so that interested parties, importers of record, customs brokers, that everybody understands here's what needs to be done. Okay. And part of that, by the way, has to do also with, this has to be taken care of administratively, meaning through U.S. Customs, unless there's some other, reason for you to need to go to court. As a general proposition, this has been established because the Court of International Trade, they don't have, jurisdiction oftentimes to address this, but they certainly don't have the capacity, as an admitted member of the Court of International Trade. They just, they wouldn't have the capacity to hear, hundreds of thousands of cases. And ultimately, they hear cases based on customs decisions. And in this case, this IEEPA duty refund is arising from a court decision, not a customs decision. So while there may be a reason to go to court in the future, right now the focus is to not go out and hire lawyers to go to court, but to get your ACE account set up, make sure you have your ACH also set up, since payments can only come back through electronic means. You know, I think as of earlier this year, late last year, the president changed that. And so you want to just be set up for that. Let's see, I talked about mass processing, just, you know, this concept that they're going to try and get your duty refunds processed, you know, en masse, in bulk, if you will. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? The duties. The duties owed on the entry summary are going to be recalculated as if IEEPA duties were never owed. Okay, this is the process that they plan to use. Now, the projected refund will be the difference between the duties, taxes, and fees paid on the entry summary and the recalculated duties, taxes, and fees owed on the entry summary. Interest, of course, is going to be calculated on these refunds as it is on any interest, you know, eligible refund issued by customs. And that's just in accordance with 19 CFR section 24.36. Now, moving on to their review and liquidation or reliquidation. Once the mass processing is complete, unliquidated entry summaries will be set to liquidate 45 days from the CAPE declaration acceptance date, except for entries suspended, extended, or under review, liquidation status. And entry summaries with any of these, they are going to, let me flip the page here. They are going to have a liquidation status that remains in that status. And then the refund will be issued upon liquidation. Now, warehouse and warehouse withdrawal entry summaries, those will not be set to liquidate 45 days from the CAPE declaration acceptance date. Instead, the liquidation process for these warehouse entries will continue to be performed by customs in the normal course after all withdrawals have been made and the warehouse entry is ready for liquidation. And then at that time, customs will process the refund for the IEEPA duties. Liquidated entry summaries will reliquidate the next business day. Now, regarding the refund, the individual entry summary refunds, these will be consolidated by the importer of record or the designated 4811 party. Remember, 4811 designation. Customs has a form 4811, and they allow an importer to designate an agent, you know, to work on their behalf. Individual entry summary refunds will be consolidated by an importer of record or designated 4811 party and liquidation date before they are dispersed in one lump sum. This guidance that I'm explaining to all of you has been provided by U.S. Customs. They have these cargo messages, and so I want to share it with the public because it's hard to find them. Now, as with all refunds issued by Customs, a check for any unpaid debts to Customs will be made before the issuance of any refund. And the refund amount will equal the difference between the IEEPA duties to be refunded and the unpaid bills. So of course, you know, with anything, if Customs is owed money, they're going to take that out first, right? Now, there may be instances where there is not a one-for-one match of entry summaries that's submitted on a CAPE declaration. And, you know, these instances occur when entry summaries from different CAPE declarations are on one consolidated refund. So examples, you know, of such an instance could include entry summaries under review, suspended or extended status prior to the CAPE declaration being accepted. The entry summary is a warehouse or warehouse withdrawal, or the entry summary was selected for review by U.S. Customs after the CAPE declaration is accepted. And ACE portal users with an importer sub account access with that access can monitor refund activity through the ACE reports. All right, it's in your reports. And the new revised 615 Rev 615 CAPE refunds trade report, that is where you'll find the CAPE related refund information. All right. For unliquidated entries other than warehouse entries and entries with extended, suspended, or under review liquidation status, importers and authorized brokers may anticipate that valid IEEPA refunds will generally be issued within 60 to 90 days following acceptance of a CAPE declaration. And this will occur unless there's a compliance concern. And if there is one raised, that's going to require further U.S. Customs review. Now, this 60 to 90 day timeframe, it includes 45 days for Customs to review, plus additional time to process the refund through Treasury. So, I can tell you from even Freedom of Information Act requests, getting something back from Customs within 60 to 90 days is pretty good. So to the extent this really happens, this is actually a really good thing. Now, just to touch on protests quickly, if a protest has been submitted solely for IEEPA refund purposes and the entry summary is within 80 days of the liquidation date, an importer may withdraw the protest and add the entry summary to the CAPE declaration for faster refund processing. Should the protest be in suspended status, then you may reach out to your processing center to request the suspension be removed. And once removed, then the importer can withdraw their protest, and then the entry summary can be submitted on a CAPE declaration. Let's see here. So last but not least, I want to talk about post-summary corrections. Filers are prohibited from initiating IEEPA duty refunds requests by filing a PSC, post-summary correction. So PSCs that are filed due to requesting a refund for entries eligible for duty-free treatment due to the lapse of, for example, the AGOA, the African Growth and Opportunity Act, or the Haiti Hope Help Agreement from October 1st, 2025. Which went through February 3rd, 2026, or any other issue, those should be filed prior to submitting your CAPE declaration. And, in terms of ACH payments, all refunds are going to be issued through ACH. And again, as I mentioned, this happened, it turns out it did happen just in March 25th of last year. There was this modernizing payments to and from America's bank account. And so that made everything turn into electronic, and hence these refunds are all going to be coming electronically. And so you want to be sure that, in order to not have any delay with receiving your refund, that you go ahead, make sure that you're signed up for ACH. And actually, I want to show you what that looks like. There is this ACE portal page here. And what this is it's actually a document. You can see the URL at the top here. My Zoom was covering it and now it's covering it again. But in any case, there is this document, which at the top looks like this. And as you scroll down, it gives you, a lot more information about finding and using CAPE in the ACE portal. So you can figure out how to create and upload a CAPE declaration. That's topic 1. Topic 2, which starts on page 5, gives you, information on how to review your CAPE declaration status details. And so this, as you can see, it's full of information on how to make this happen. Okay, so it's a step-by-step process. Separate from this, I have another tab I want to show you, which has to do with the electronic refund enrollment in U.S. Customs ACE portal. And again, here is where you can see that there is a you can see that there is the web page right here related to that. And then on the next tab here, there is information related to CAPE processing in phase 1. So again, specific to phase 1, because this is what came out just a few days ago. But you'll be able to find here that information. Okay. Let's see. So I think that covers everything. Right now, again, we're in phase 1. So, start organizing your customs entries to the extent you haven't already. Set up your CAPE declarations. And of course, if you ever need any assistance, feel free to reach out. You can contact us at the Clark-Esposito Law Firm. We can be reached at 917-546-6997. You can also email us at contact@clarkespositolaw.com. So that's everything. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll be the first to know when we upload a new video. Check out our playlist if you want to see more of our videos, and comment below and introduce yourself. We'll see you soon.